Hi, thank you for tuning into the Tom Patelson Show. It's time for another Top 5. These are my top 5 favorite science fiction movies, not including Star Trek or Star Wars. I could go on and on about those genres. And I started thinking, could I put them in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on my favorites? And I decided, no, I couldn't. But what I could do is give you the top of each particular subgenre. Like number 1 right now, we're going to talk about my favorite comedy or spoof sci-fi. First of all, hats off to movies like Spaceballs, Mars Attacks, and Men in Black. Men in Black being one of my favorites that answers the question of what if. Science fiction usually asks a what if question. What if aliens had been around all the time and people in the government knew about it? What if? But for comedy and for spoof, really nothing beats 1999's Galaxy Quest. Starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, and Tony Shalhoub, to name others. It is so endearing and wonderful and funny and makes fun of Star Trek while still being Star Trek, much in the same way like Star Trek Lower Decks does. It makes fun of Star Trek and is still really good Star Trek. Galaxy Quest does something that is hard to do in a movie. You can have action, you can have horror, you can have some comedy, make some funny moments, but I don't know how you make a movie that is charming. Galaxy Quest is charming. It charms you from beginning to end. Every single character that you know in the movie you want to see succeed. You want them to be happy. You want them to find love and acceptance. You hope for them, you wish for them, and that's why Galaxy Quest is my favorite comedy sci-fi. Action science fiction. This is difficult because a lot of science fiction properties have action in them. There are many action-related, everything that, Galaxy Quest has action in it. But for action sci-fi, a couple of hats off, first of all, to The Fifth Element, to Aliens, that's the second part of the Alien franchise, love Aliens, and one of my all-time favorites, Starship Troopers. But for action science fiction, I have to go once again to 1999 and The Matrix. The Matrix with Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss. I'm looking at my notes. Carrie-Anne Moss from 1999, which is odd because in 1999 is when Star Wars The Phantom Menace came out. Now, as a Star Wars fan and not seen any new Star Wars since 1983's Return of the Jedi, I was really excited to go see Star Wars The Phantom Menace, which I think we can all agree is one of the weaker offerings from the Star Wars universe. But we went to go see The Matrix just kind of on a whim, thinking, well, what's this movie with Ted Theodore Logan? But, what's The Matrix? And we walked out of there, my date and I, and just were blown away. We couldn't stop talking about it. The difference, would you take the blue pill or the red pill? This movie makes you think, what if that happens? It's kind of in a post-apocalyptic era, which I'll discuss later for The Matrix. Oh, yeah, you can blow stuff up, you can have guns, you can have action, but when you make a movie that makes you think, what would I do? Which pill would I choose? If I knew everything around me was fake and reality was horrible and terrifying, would I just go ahead and yeah. For action science fiction and just a heck of a ride, 1999's The Matrix. Science fiction dramas. Some tip of the hat. Number 1, 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is everyone's favorite for being a science fiction drama and a work of art that puts me completely to sleep. It does. I can say simultaneously that it is a work of art and a work of a genius, and it also puts me to sleep. It really does. I find it incredibly boring at the end, and it's beautiful and brilliant and amazing, but that's how I feel about that. Blade Runner. Blade Runner is another dramatic, post-apocalyptic thing that is just, it's beautiful and amazing. I love Blade Runner, and hats off to The Martian. I think The Martian is a wonderful dramatic role, especially for Matt Damon. But for me, it's 2016's Arrival, starring Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, and Forrest Whitaker. What if aliens arrived on the Earth? Now, as far as aliens go, they all pretty much look the same. They got legs, they got arms, they have a head. Even the aliens and the Predator and all of the aliens we've ever encountered look kind of like us. which is odd and egocentric, assuming that everyone would look and walk and talk like us. And this is the first one that answers, well, we don't know what they are, we don't know who they are, we don't know how to communicate who they are. No other movie has tackled that part for me on language and how we would really deal with people from another species, from another planet, and Arrival does this absolutely beautifully. And the ending is really confusing and hard to figure out. And yeah, I had to watch a YouTube video on exactly what the heck was going on. And I don't mind that, because it made me think. It made me want to research it. After I see a movie, if 3 days later I can't tell you anything about it, or if I'm not still thinking about it, then I didn't like it. But Arrival, my goodness, is my favorite drama sci-fi. It's a wonderful movie. Horror. Science fiction horror. Tip the cap to The Predator. Love The Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Love The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. And I'm a big fan of Nope, Jordan Peele's latest, which I felt was very suspenseful and very fun and a little terrifying and goofy, and I liked it. It's getting kind of a bad rap in the science fiction community, but not from me. I think it's great. But it didn't scare me. I couldn't go see this movie because I was only 10 years old when it came out in 1979, but when I finally saw it on HBO and was a teenager, yeah, Alien. Alien scared the crap out of me. With Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, John Hurt, and many others, Alien is the typical horror movie haunted house. You're trapped in the haunted house, and there's something bad in the haunted house. Now, in regular world, we can leave the house. We can just get out of there. I never understood that in horror movies. Like, why don't you just get out of the house if there's a monster in the house? Well, it's raining, and the bridge is out. Really? Rain? Rain stopped you from getting out of the house? All right, fine. But no, you are trapped in space. You're trapped in space with an alien creature who is designed to kill you and make more alien creatures. Terrifying, wonderful. Love the original, 1979. Creepy as all get out. Alien. Our last category is post-apocalyptic science fiction. It is one of my least favorite categories of post-apocalyptic. The world goes to heck in a handbasket, and we're all left to try and figure some stuff out. And because of The Last of Us, which came out on HBO, and people are loving that and watching that, I'm not a big fan of that the world has screwed up so much, and here's how we have to live after we have clearly screwed up and destroyed the world. Not my favorite genre. But The Last of Us is a great show, and show us every single zombie movie is post-apocalyptic science fiction, and The Terminator is another great post-apocalyptic science fiction movie set in current time, even though it's clearly we're about to be screwed up. And The Matrix, yeah, The Matrix is technically a post-apocalyptic, so is The Hunger Games. But for me, this is one of those beginning HBO movies when I was a teenager. A lot of my teenage movies are coming out. In Australia in 1981, it had the title of Mad Max 2, but here in the US, it was called The Road Warrior, starring Mad Max himself, Mel Gibson as Max Rockatansky, who is roaming the wasteland looking for gasoline. Gasoline has become the currency of the post-apocalypse, and they fight over gasoline. Mel Gibson's Mad Max is truly the man with no name from Clint Eastwood's Western. He's just wandering from place to place. He makes no connections after losing his wife and child in the first Mad Max movie, and now he's just wandering. He's just wandering, looking for stuff, but it is packed with action. It's got one of the best car sequences ever, including, I do love Mad Max Fury Road. I'm not dissing Mad Max Fury Road, and that should be on the list as well. I do love that movie, but it's nothing compared to the movie you see when you're a kid and see them just driving around in these machines and belching flames, and there's flamethrowers, and there's rocket launchers, and there's crossbows, and there's shotguns, and it's just a wild ride. I absolutely love 1981's The Road Warrior for post-apocalyptic sci-fi. Time for a shout-out. This one comes from Jonathan Shepard, who said, "Great video as usual." Thank you, Jonathan. "Would love to hear more of your thoughts on Discovery, Strange New Worlds, all the new Trek in general. I've been pretty happy with everything we've gotten in the last few years." Jonathan, me too. Me too. Today, actually, as I'm recording this today, Star Trek Discovery announced that the 5th season will be their final season, which is fine. I wouldn't mind if it kept going. It took us so long for Discovery for me to get good. I knew Burnham was captain the first episode, but she wasn't captain until the 3rd season. Now, it took a while for us to get to the point where Discovery was following traditional Trek and being awesome. Now I love Discovery, and now it's gone. I'm not a fan of that. Strange New Worlds is touching everybody's sweet spot because it continues to go back to episodic television. Love that. Every episode, beginning to end, you get a great big arc, you get all the feels and all the action and all the fun, and then it is over. And you don't have to watch every single episode in order to get everything out there. I do love episodic Star Trek. I think that's great. I'm loving Star Trek Picard Season 3, mainly because it's a big love letter to Star Trek The Next Generation, which is my jam. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the new Star Trek. I love it all. It is great. I really think we're getting into a great era of Trek. It's a great time to be a Trekkie. Thanks, Jim. That'll do it for this week. Thank you for tuning in. As always, like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. I'm going to post a poll for my subscribers to find out which movies I missed and what you want me to talk about, because everything on your list is probably everything on my list. I love everything from this genre. I really do. But as always, till I see you next time, peace, love, live long, and prosper. And I mean that.